Um, and then I don't think anybody's gonna. I think everybody's gonna get their bag this year, except for maybe Kawhi Leonard. I don't see any of these top free agents doing a 1 year deal thing. But man, maybe Jimmy Butler might do that. I mean, I think it's considered. I still wouldn't do it. I'm gonna sign for the max wherever. And then here's another thing: if Philadelphia wants to fool around with Jimmy Butler and not give him the max, and or even if he says I'll take a pay cut for 150 and they still say no or something. So I don't know if in Philadelphia's plans they haven't come out and said, like the Warriors, we know they're gonna offer Klay Thompson the max. We haven't heard Philadelphia come out and say anything. If they fool around with Jimmy Butler, he can't go to Houston because obviously they don't have the cap room. But if I'm Jimmy Butler, man, I'm going to the Knicks, the Nets, the Clippers. I'm wherever the Durant or Kawhi don't go, and I'm taking the full max because they'll offer it to him. If the Knicks strike out or the Nets strike out on Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler's the next in line. They might offer him something near the max. The Nets, Clippers, and the Knicks obviously would. But I was saying Jimmy Butler might be on that where he could sign a 1 year $20 million deal.
Right.
And then the following summer, Jimmy Butler would be, if everybody signs, with their team, Jimmy Butler, unless Kawhi Leonard does the 2 year thing, Jimmy Butler will be the most sought after free agent next year in next year's class if he does a 1 year deal.
Right.
So, but I don't think he will though. I think he's going to take the money. What's the Steve Miller song? Take the money and run. Right. And I think that's what. Yeah. And I think Jimmy Butler's going to do that. If it's not in Philly, I really think the Knicks, if they strike out on everybody, would go to Jimmy Butler and say, "Hey, here's your 4 years, $141 million. You can have it."
Yeah. So let me track back a little bit here. You asked, what are the Rockets doing here? The Rockets are doing what they think the fans want us, what they think the fans want to be done. Because we said it, or I said it here, like I said, the Rockets need to implode. They need to cut off the head. They need to fire the head coach. They need to get rid of CP3. They need to rebuild that team. And with them going after Jimmy Butler the way they are, or reports say they are, we don't actually know if they're doing that or not, right. That they are looking for they are smoking us, making us think that they are trying to make a change to better the team by giving those 3 or 4 players to Philly and getting a better player in return. So they say. So the Rockets are just making smoke screens for us as fans, as us as viewers, as us as analysts, to think that they are making the correct moves to get better, to win a championship. And truth is, I think this is all just them putting it out there just to see what happens, just to see what people say about it.
Right.
And my wife's calling me, and we'll talk later. But so like I think this is all just a smoke screen, and the Rockets definitely don't want to get rid of those 3 solid players. What is it? I believe Clint Capella and James Harden had the most alley-oops in the league last year at 98. So you are wanting to give away a rim protector, a finisher in the paint for a shooting guard, for a small forward. It does not make sense on paper, or like just like you said, it might be fun to watch on the court, CP3, right. Harden, and like Jimmy, but you aren't going to win a lot of you are not going to win a lot of meaningful games if those 3 are the only people on the court. So this is all smoke screens for the Rockets. I think Jimmy Butler is going to end up in Philly still. He is going to sign a $150 million deal, and Philly's going to be just as good next year because they aren't going to really lose anybody except for JJ Redick to the Lakers.
That's possible. Yeah, JJ Redick to the Lakers makes a lot of sense, but you're going to have to fill that void because you really lose a lot of shooting in Redick. But like I said, they're going to have a couple of young kids coming up, and Matisse Thybulle, who can shoot the ball, not Redick, obviously, and Zaire Smith, their last year's #1 pick. So I think they're going to be implemented real quick here. It's going to be hard to score on Philadelphia. That's just, I'm going to throw that out there right now. Toronto was hard to score on. Philadelphia with those 2 young kids, and Jimmy Butler and Embiid protecting the rim. Philadelphia might lead the league in defense. I'm not joking there at all. Redick was kind of a weak link in that. If they don't have Redick and they replace him with these young kids that play defense, it's going to be a nightmare for teams to score
Yeah,
on
just to add
Philadelphia.
to your fact there, or to your point there, Jimmy Butler was the second rated defensive player in the
Yeah,
league this past year. I'm not for sure how they figure out
right.
how to rank those players, but he was a second-rated defensive player in the NBA last season.
And
So,
his defense isn't even as good as it used to be. I
right.
mean, it's fallen off a little bit because his offense has gotten better.
Hmm.
But yeah, probably percentage of times he was guarding a man that they didn't score. He had the least percentage or second least percentage or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know Jimmy Butler should stay right where he's at. And then at the end of the day, let's just say we bought the Kentucky Colonels. They used to be an ABA team, the Kentucky Colonels. And you came to me, you're the owner, and I'm the GM, and you said, hey, um, uh, how would we want to start our team? You want Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, or PJ Tucker, those three to start our team, or do you want Jimmy Butler? And I would tell you those three.
Yeah. I have to concur with
So
that.
okay, so
Yeah.
that there you
Yeah.
go. The Rockets should just stand pat in what they have.
The Rockets just need a new offense. They need a new head coach.
Yeah,
This isolation offense, it does not work in the postseason. It's simple as
yeah,
that.
it's jacking up 53s a
Yeah.
night, and then if you make 20 to 25 of them, you win the game.
Yeah.
That's not enough. And that offense cost them. They were a second seed, and that offense cost them the fourth seed. So
Yeah.
it's not gonna that offense just seeing how many
Their
threes you
offense
can get.
cost them a Western Conference final berth.
Sure, yeah, and when they a couple of years ago when they missed all those threes in a row. So yeah, I mean, yeah, but that offense. What I'm saying is that offense didn't even get you a number one or number two seed. You went
But
to the fourth seed.
But on the
Yeah,
flip side of that coin, that same offense also did take a fully healthy Golden State Warriors to 7 games just a year be a for that. So it's a catch
that's true.
22, but this offense sucks in
That's
the
true. That
playoffs.
to me, that's more of Golden State playing around, like just
Right.
fooling around with the
Yeah.
Rockets. But you're right, though. What you said is 100% correct. They had it. And they blew it. The Rockets blew it.
So let's just keep talking about free agency here. And one couple free agents that are flying under the radar, JJ Redick. I think he will be a perfect fit in LA, and I think that's where he's going to ultimately end up. Where do you
Yeah.
think JJ is going to end up?
Well, if it's not back with the sick, listen, he'd be one of the first guys I talk to if you're Philadelphia, Coach Brett Brown and the boys there. You have to talk to. I'm talking all three of my guys. I'm sending somebody to Tobias's house, or I'm having them all. Please come for a meeting on Sunday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern time, where when we can start talking to these guys. I'd have them all three in the same room. JJ Redick, Tobias Harris, and Jimmy Butler, and I'd say, here, this is what we can do, fellas. Um, so and they're super important. But if they don't do that, JJ Redick with LeBron James and you have listen, that would be wow. To be honest, I mean, let's just keep it real here. LeBron James with Anthony Davis, and then you have Lonzo Ball and JJ Redick on the wing there shooting threes. And Lonzo Ball only shot 31%
Is
last
it
year. Not
Lonzo
Lonzo
going
Ball.
to New Orleans
Excuse
though?
me. Yeah. No, excuse me.
Oh,
I'm Kyle
Kuzma.
Kuzma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Kyle Kuzma um, is a good shooter. He's a good player. He's a good up and coming player. So yeah, Kyle Kuzma. When you have him on the wing with JJ Redick, and Kyle Kuzma had a down year last year in terms of threes. He only shot 31%. So when you have Kyle Kuzma and JJ Redick on the wing for LeBron James, that's nice, man. And Anthony Davis roaming around. Uh, you know, you can do a lot of things with Anthony Davis. He's multidimensional. That's why he's going to get this big money. So you can post Anthony up. He can be up there in the wing. So this is the JJ Redick would be awesome with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's he'd remind everybody of Byron Scott from yesteryear. So
Yeah.
yeah, Kyle Kuzma. I don't know why I had Lonzo Ball in the brain, but yeah, Kyle Kuzma is the guy. Lonzo wouldn't make much sense with LeBron James. I don't think. I mean, maybe, but that's why they got rid of him. They wanted to keep Kyle Kuzma over Lonzo Ball and
Right.
Brandon Ingram because Kyle Kuzma is a better knockdown shooter and a better scorer than those guys. Let's just face it.
And he's not a much of a head case like
Right.
either.
Yeah.
Because you saw it when the Lonzo's name came up in the trade talks right before the All-Star break. You saw his game go way downhill, and then like all of a sudden he has this mysterious injury. Oh, what was it? His shoulder or ankle, or it was some mysterious injury that all of a sudden like he can't
Yeah.
play for 15, 16 games. So he's
And
definitely
then
a head case.
and then we don't know what's going on with Brandon Ingram. he had
Yeah.
a blood clot or something, so that's a little scary. But if you ask me, I'd rather have Kyle Kuzma than Brandon Ingram. They kept on talking about Brandon Ingram as the second coming of Kevin Durant. I never saw it. It's like a poor man's Kevin Durant at best.
Right.
Kyle Kuzma was the best one to keep out of that group of Alonzo and Hart and Ingram and those boys. So Kyle Kuzma was the one that you wanted to keep, and that's what the Lakers did. Kudos to Palinka, at least a little nugget on that one, even though he messed up the cap situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to keep Kyle Kuzma.
I'm
And,
not for sure how much you
JJ
can.
Redick is, huh?
I'm not for sure how much blame you can place on him as far as the cap situation,
Yeah,
because it was playing ball with the Pelicans. Like, they had to wait a certain amount of day to approve
right.
that trade. So I think the Pelicans are kind of poking it at the Lakers a little bit, like, hey, we got everything for AD, plus we got Zion, and now you guys can't do anything. So, like, I think that's more with the Pelicans did that than more than Palinka's failing on that side.
Well, it takes two, and both. Yeah, I mean, you're right on what your assessment is, but now now they're not going to have the cap room to go get a great player. I mean, they're going to have to fill the roster in with a bunch of different players. Now they could get D'Angelo Russell.
They
That's
could.
possible. And so we didn't talk about that yesterday, but that would be okay. Let me just say this: if they get D'Angelo Russell, um, and I said it's wide open, right? Like anybody can win it. I'm still picking the. I might pick the Nuggets right now, to be honest. To come out of, they're the most cohesive team. They might not have all the stars, right? But they're the best team, the most cohesive team that's been playing together the last couple of years. Um, but if D'Angelo Russell joins up with LeBron James and Anthony Davis with Kyle Kuzma there, I might pick the Lakers to come out of the West. And God, that pains me because I hate the Los Angeles Lakers. But I'm going to keep it real with you. I mean, that would be a big time get
Yeah.
to get D'Angelo Russell if they can pull that off. I think Anthony Davis would have to waive his no trade clicker to move that their cap up a little bit to like 28 million instead of 24 million. So I mean, that's a lot. How would you like to get, hey, Michael, I'm going to give that job to you. I want you to go ask somebody to not take $4 million that they
Well,
can just go
see,
grab if they wanted to.
I actually have a podcast coming out tomorrow, like, about the crazy amount of money that we are throwing at these professional athletes. Like, they
Yeah,
are complaining over an extra $1 million. To, like, you and me, $1 million is a lot of is
right,
like a lot of money.
right.
But to them, it's like you're only making $20 an hour versus 21.05 an hour.
Yeah.
It is so
No, yeah,
minute of,
no,
like, how much that extra $1 million is.
you're 100% right. I agree with you. The money that's thrown around. That's
Yeah.
why a lot of these players aren't sticking with their teams
Right.
and signing for the max and all that. They'll just go, hey, I'll lose 50 million.
It's just,
I'll go
it's
take.
like, seriously, it is that 50 million to them is like, oh, it's just a couple $100 to us.
Yeah, no, but
I
I
mean,
mean,
like, it hurts us a little bit, but it's just
It,
it's
it no,
just
it
it's
does.
just
I mean,
money.
50 million is
Yeah.
listen. 50 million is 50 million. That's a lot of money even to millionaires. But what's amazing is they can afford to do it because they're,
They already
they
have
you know,
$100 million in the bank.
yeah, they already have a lot of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. But $4 million is still a lot just to walk away from. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
think about it. Even if you had $30 million, like, you know what I mean? Like, say you had $30 million in the bank and you were as a trade clicker, a trade kicker or whatever, and you'd have to waive that. I mean, that's what I mean. Like that's I don't
If I
that's
was an
still a little
agent,
bit.
and so you are the GM, and you
Uh,
come to me asking my client to take $4 million less, I would be able to say yes if we can get a performance. Like, hey, if we win X
right.
amount, like X amount of games, I get an extra $1 million. If we win a playoff series, I get extra million
Yeah.
$1 million. I mean, like, really, like, I think GMs and owners need to start putting that into players' contracts, because those bonuses do not go against your salary cap.
Right.
Because it is
In
it is a bonus. It is not guaranteed cash. So
it
I can guarantee you $20 million, but you get me to the playoffs. Oh, here's an extra $10 million.
right.
Because think about this: you have LeBron AD and you bring Kyrie on there and you bring JJ Redick on there. You sign all of them for 20, 30 million dollars a year, but then you have these extra bonuses and incentives, and they're going to make the playoffs. That team you can mark into the playoffs almost guaranteed. You guys make it
Yeah,
to the playoffs. Here's an extra $20 million for each of you. So now you're making
yeah,
$40 million a year. So I mean, like they need. I mean, obviously GMs are a lot smarter than myself, but like I would twist the numbers just like that any way I can to bring in more superstars. But
yeah. You're
that's
talking
just
about incentive laden contracts. They don't do
yeah,
that as much in the NBA because all the contracts are pretty much guaranteed.
right.
And but in the NFL, they do that a lot. If you
Yes,
make the Pro Bowl, you get this amount of money. If you get like 1,000 yards, if you get 1,000 yards, you get this amount. If you get 1,200 yards, you get this amount. If you have 80 catches, if they do that a lot in the NFL, and that's why sometimes it's dirty in the NFL. Somebody will be approaching the 80 catch plateau,
yep,
and if they're not going anywhere as a team, they'll sit your butt down and be like, "We're not going to give him that extra $100,000 for the 80 catches. His ass is going to stay at 75 catches
right.
because we're going to develop young guys. We're not going to make the playoffs anyway." So they do that a lot in the NFL. They can be real dirty about it in the NFL, but yeah, the NFL's not a lot of contracts aren't guaranteed unless you're a top player or you only have a partial guaranteed contract.
Right.
So there's a lot of incentive laden contracts out there in the NFL. Not so much the NBA though. But I know what you're saying though. They
Yeah.
should do that. If Anthony Davis, if they get the number one seed, you get your $4 million back.
Yeah. I mean, because the Lakers are like, think about this. You make it to the playoffs as a top 4 seed, you are guaranteed 2 home games. So actually, let's just say this: you are almost guaranteed 4 home games if you are a top 4 seed in your conference. Because let's
Right.
say because you get the first 2 home games, and if you win the next 2 on the road, you get the next 2 home games as well. So like either way,
Right.
you're guaranteed four home games if you are a top 4 seed, and they are going to bring in at least $10 million in
Right.
sales per game. I'm talking the advertisements, the sponsorships, the parking, the ticket sales,
Yeah. I
merchandise
wonder.
sales, all that stuff.
I wonder how many Anthony Davis jerseys have sold in LA since they did that trade a few weeks ago. Probably ton. I mean,
Yeah, I
a
bet you
million.
yeah, like because a basketball jersey, I looked it up, it's about $45 to $50. So I bet you they've sold at least 1,200 jerseys of like just like that.
Oh no,
That's $1 million right there. Boom.
no. I
So
I would say they've sold probably 100,000 jerseys.
yeah,
I mean, there's
like
a lot of
I was just throwing out
yeah.
a small number there.
Right. Yeah.
1,200
No. No.
jerseys
So
equals $1 million.
right.
So
So they can give him an incentive. If
yeah,
he doesn't take that trade kicker, I guess to make this long story short here, if he doesn't take that trade kicker and he helps the Lakers out by giving them back 4 million, so they can go get D'Angelo Russell, they can give him. They back that 4 million, make it 6 million
yeah,
because they're making a lot of money off him in an incentive laden deal. If they get like the number one or number two seed, he gets that money back.
yeah.
I would
It's
do that. Yeah.
so yeah. I mean, like I guess hindsight is 2020. Do you want your money now, like in your hand, guaranteed, or can you wait till the playoffs? I mean,
Right.
like I don't know.
Well,
I think I can
yeah.
wait, but
If I'm Anthony Davis and they came to me and said, "Hey, if you give up your 4 million, we can get D Russell,"
and we can win a
then I'm gonna
championship.
go.
We are
Yeah. Then
guaranteed to
I'm
win a
gonna go ahead and
championship.
say, "Let's get D'Angelo Russell. He can have my 4 million."
So yeah,
But
so
yeah.
does he do
Yeah.
that? I doubt it,
Right.
but we'll see. We'll definitely see
Well,
because
it depends on
AD
how
is
much he
definitely
wants
the
to win.
future in LA. He's the face of the franchise in the next five to 10 years.
Oh, absolutely. And then if D. Russell joins him, he's not alone because LeBron will retire, and now you got. He would be smart to do that because now he's got D'Angelo Russell and him. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's not a bad 1-2 punch there to go with Kyle Kuzma, who's a nice third piece there, kind of like a poor man's Klay Thompson.
yeah. Let me tweet at AD this podcast, and hopefully he'll listen to it
Yeah.
and take that $4 million cut. But let me roll back here to the Philly thing real quick. Here, you had Harris, Jimmy Butler, and JJ. You said you want to sit those 3 down in a office. Let's say
Yes.
you cannot sign all 3. Is JJ Redick the odd man out of that bunch? 100% of the
Wow.
time.
You know what's funny is yes, like in terms of talent overall, like Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is a big time talent. Let's just say Jimmy Butler missed 2 months. Well, Tobias Harris can do Jimmy Butler things. He can hold ship, and he's 6'7", 6'8". He's bigger than Jimmy, and he's going to command double teams, and he can score like Jimmy on the break and all that stuff. So I guess I'd rather have Tobias Harris, yes, over JJ Redick. Obviously, we're keeping Jimmy Butler if I could pick two. So I guess it'd be Jimmy and Tobias. That's a great 1-2 punch right there. But here's a but. Man, this would really put me into the night here if I was this Philadelphia GM here. You could guarantee me, Ben Simmons is learning how to shoot his jumpers better, and if you could guarantee me that Joel Embiid is not going to have a bunch of health issues, I think they're better off with Redick shooting the basketball than Tobias Harris overall talent. And if Jimmy Butler doesn't get hurt, because everybody's in place there for a nice nucleus there if everybody knows their roles. But you can't guarantee. So if you can guarantee me those guys don't get healthy, I'm taking JJ Redick over Tobias Harris. Now, that sounds crazy. That might sound crazy because Tobias Harris is a better talent than JJ Redick, but we're talking about a collective team here. So now, if you can't guarantee me those guys aren't going to get hurt, um, let me just give you an example. If Embiid went down and Jimmy Butler went down, and you're sitting there with JJ Redick and Ben Simmons, we're going to be absolutely terrible. There's no double teams anywhere. Nobody's going to command double teams or anything. Right. But Tobias Harris can get you over that hump of like he's a player that commands double teams and can get you 25 easy. JJ Redick is not going to get you 25 easy. He's going to get you 12 to 15 easy. That's a big difference because it's 3-point shot. So I guess I'd have to ask the medical people. Hey, how good is Embiid? Is he going to be
what
good?
medical staff are you asking though?
Yeah, I'm asking. Yeah, I mean they better be straight with me.
Right.
But no, I guess Tobias Harris. I would go ahead and take Tobias over JJ Redick. Just a better overall talent.
Okay, so do you have JJ Redick going to LA if he does not sign with Philly?
Sure. I mean, yes, absolutely. And
I mean,
well,
like,
that's
do
if.
you see any other possible landing spot for him?
Well, I have JJ Redick going to the Lakers, but that's if they don't get because they have 24 million in cap room.
Yes.
So JJ Redick's going to take 10, 12 of that, and so now you just fill out the roster with other pieces. So that means that they're not going to get D'Angelo Russell.
Right.
So I don't know because I don't think that you can sign JJ Redick and D'Angelo Russell right now. So that would mean D'Angelo Russell's going somewhere else, and that's another thing. That's another can of worms. If D'Angelo Russell, if Kyrie goes to the Nets, they renounce D'Angelo Russell's rights. He doesn't not going to play with Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
They're too similar. They're ball dominant.
Right.
Then the Knicks should offer D'Angelo Russell the max.
Yeah.
So he don't even have to change. He don't even have to move homes. He can just
He just drives across the street instead of going
right. There you go.
He turns left instead of going right or something. Right.
So it's right. So it's not a big deal. So the other landing spots for JJ Redick, I haven't really. Man, I mean, JJ Redick can go in. This is a make or miss league, and this is a 3-point shooting league.
Right.
There are going to be teams lining up for JJ Redick services if he doesn't re-sign with Philly, and if the Lakers sign Russell and they don't have any money for Redick. Unless the Lakers, I think even if this doesn't affect the cap. So I may have been wrong here. If D'Angelo Russell takes a lot of most of that cap room, I think they can sign JJ Redick to the $9.5 million mid-level exception that the Lakers have if JJ Redick wants to play for $9 million. But if you're JJ Redick also, I mean, you've made a lot of money, so I might want to take that exception from the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if somebody offers me more than that, like a lot, I don't know, man. It's tempting, man. Like if the Knicks offer me, he's not a max player, but if the Knicks offer me like a 4-year, $80 million contract, twice the money that I would be getting with the Lakers, I know I'm not going to win a championship, but that's tempting, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think about it. That's tempting.
Yeah, you're right there, but at the same time,
Michael,
a ring's nice.
Right. But ask your wife, hey, honey, this team's offering me 1 year, $9 million, and this other team's offering me they suck, and I got to really go put in more work, but they're offering me 4-year, $80 million. So you'd lose $71 million going to the Lakers. I think your wife would go buy you a ring at the mall.
Right.
Yeah.
She would go to that pawn shop down there in Las Vegas and get me one of those old timer
Yeah,
Super Bowl
I have
rings.
honey. I found a old Bill Russell ring online. We can go purchase.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
hey, I got $71 extra $1 million. Sure, just give him $1 million for it,
yeah,
right?
man. So don't, but like think about it. That's a lot to walk away from.
Yeah,
If the
you're right.
Knicks wanted Reddick for like 4 years, like even $70 million contract, that's a lot to walk away from. Reddick would really want that ring to play for the Lakers for the mid-level exception. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, he could sign with Philly and also chase rings too. So,
Yes,
I'm
that's right. That's right. Remember, we talked about that yesterday. If you can do both,
yeah.
that's where you sign because Philly might have the most to offer him. I think they have his bird rights, and so I think they can go over the cap and sign Reddick. So in other words, because he's been their player the last few couple of years.
So one day you're going to have to explain to me how the salary cap works in the NBA because I have no freaking clue. Like at this point, you just threw out a new term there that I haven't heard in a while. The
The
bird
bird
rights.
rights.
So like
Yeah,
I don't
I
even know
think
what.
if you have a player for a couple of years that's with you, you can go over the cap and sign him, and it doesn't cost you the luxury tax money.
So is that
Uh,
how the Golden State Warriors can have a $1.6 billion salary cap?
Yeah, I mean they have everybody's bird rights. So yeah, but they're giving them so much money that they're exceeding the bird rights situation. I mean, like
Okay,
they're going everybody when you can't just give everybody the max now. You can
right.
like here's an example. Rudy Gay, um, the Spurs can go into they have his bird rights because they've had him for 2 years now. They can exceed the cap by a little bit, but they can't give Rudy Gay the max. They can give him a little bit more than the 10 million that he'd want. So I'm anticipating Rudy Gay signing. The Spurs only have like a few $1 million in cap room, but they have Rudy Gay's bird right. So I'm anticipating Rudy Gay in the next few days signing like a 3 year, $39 million contract, like 13 million a year, and that won't hurt the Spurs, and that Rudy will be very happy with that.
Yeah.
But they can't. And just because the San Antonio Spurs have Rudy Gay's bird rights, that doesn't mean that they can sign him to 30 million a year. Nor would they want to. But even if he was a great player, they wouldn't be able to do that. No, they
Basically,
they, they,
what it
they
comes down to is the NBA just needs to simplify the
yeah.
salary cap. You have $100 million to spend every year. If you go over that, you can't. I mean, it's just simple
Yeah,
as that. Like
I think
I
the
think that
cap.
would I
Right.
think that would balance out the
Well,
NBA
they
just
do
alone.
try that, but they give you incentive. It's like 109 million. I think it's going to go to 119 soon.
Yeah.
But they do what you just said, but they give incentive for players that stay,
Right.
and so it's kind of cool for the fans. I like it because it's kind of cool for the fans that you can sign somebody over the cap a little bit to keep your own players.
Yeah.
If you like, if
That
you
does
like
make
that guy.
sense. So
But yeah.
let's just go ahead and keep
But
talking.
let me tell you something. What the Golden State Warriors are doing is evil, though. You know, uh,
Yeah.
all these players to the max, all these like I'll just sign anybody, and they have all this unlimited money, and the NBA is getting, they get rich off the Golden State Warriors. That's kind of, you know what I mean? I can't stand stuff like that, dude. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Well, speaking of Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson is also a free agent. We have not talked about him at all. He did suffer a ACL injury. I believe it was Game 6 in the finals, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe
Yeah.
Game 5. I'm not for sure what game it was. He suffered a ACL injury. It is reporting that he is going to sign a max deal with Golden State Warriors. Um, do you think he's going to sign with the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah, that's a slam dunk. I mean, if they're not already told him that, I would be shocked if they haven't already said anything to him and his agent. At 6:01 Eastern time or wherever it is, I guess with 4 p.m. Central, whatever, or 3 p.m. Central. I
Right.
mean, you in Los Angeles, or Pacific. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Pacific time. They should be over there faxing over a contract at at the minute after 3:01, 5:01, whatever time zone Klay Thompson's in. They should be faxing over that 5 year, $190 million deal. He doesn't have an Achilles; he has an ACL injury. He will come back in March, and the Warriors will be the Splash Brothers again in the playoff run. But they're going to be so far down, they're going to be struggling to make the playoffs, and then he's going to be coming off an injury. So they could be the seventh or eighth seed, one of the most dangerous seventh or eighth seeds. It may not be fun to be the number 1 or number 2 seed this year. If Golden State Warriors are making the playoffs as an eighth, seventh, or eighth seed, that's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait to watch the Warriors next year. I'm excited.
Yeah,
because they don't. So we'll
yeah.
see. But yeah,
I'm
Klay
excited as
Thompson.
well.
Yeah, Klay Thompson is going to make the $190 million, the max that he can get, and it would have been 221 million if he didn't make the if he would have made the All NBA this year.
Right,
So he lost
which is crazy.
$31 million.
Yeah.
But that's that's what you get when you say I want a collection of all stars on my team, because then not everybody can be All NBA. So
Yep.
you just sacrificed. Klay Thompson literally sacrificed $31 million so Kevin Durant can be there and they can have fun.
Yeah. So if Klay Thompson does not sign with Golden State Warriors, this is the biggest red flag that you could fly. You could have billboards saying Warriors doctors suck right here. You could
Yeah,
say
no,
there's corruption in the Warriors
right,
front office. If Klay Thompson does not sign with the Warriors, there needs to be some type of
yeah,
investigation happening of
right.
why is Klay Thompson not signing with the Warriors. So yeah, he's definitely a Warrior, going to be a Warrior
Yeah, he's
for
gonna
life.
sign. I
Even
wouldn't
though
even.
there was rumors of him signing with LA earlier in the year,
Nah.
because I think his dad is the voice of the Lakers or something
Yeah,
to that effect.
Michael Thompson, former number one overall pick in 1978, is one of the Los Angeles Lakers commentators. But even Michael Thompson, his father, even as bad as he would want Clay to come join LeBron and um, Anthony Davis, that would be fun to watch. By the way, they would be a slam dunk champion. By the way, if that happened, but I think Michael Thompson wants his son in Golden State with Stephen Curry to end their careers. That's to that's so that there's no way the Warriors, the Warriors, if a gun to the Warriors' head, they'd rather have Klay Thompson than Kevin Durant.
Ooh,
I
that's
know
a
that
bold
sounds
statement,
great.
Cotton.
Yeah, no, because they want to keep the Splash Brothers. They really love Klay Thompson.
Yeah,
He's the first one of their brass, Bob Myers and the owner that Lakem, the owner, that's the first draft pick they made.
right.
So Klay Thompson, when he went 11th overall in the 2011 draft, that's the first draft pick that they made. Um, it wasn't Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry was made by Don Nelson.
Right.
So Curry went 7th overall in the 2010 draft. So no, they have an affection for Klay Thompson more than anybody else. So yeah, he's getting his 190 million over the next 5 years. Klay Thompson is.
Okay, so one more player I want to throw at you. His last name is Curry, but Seth Curry. Seth Curry is a free agent as well, or a unrestricted free agent. Do you have any idea where he will land, or do you think he will stay in Portland?
Great question. He's the same as JJ Redick, but just not as good. I mean, we're talking about very similar players here. I'd rather have JJ Redick than Seth Curry, but he's another one. If Seth Curry, I mean, Philadelphia should immediately offer Seth Curry more money than Portland can if they lose JJ Redick. If JJ Redick stays with Philly, the LeBron James, he should be at Seth Curry's door, talking to mom and dad, right when free agency signs and says, "Hey, can your son come play for me?" Seth Curry is a hot commodity, and it sounds crazy because he's not an all-star. He's nowhere near an all-star type player, but he can shoot the rock, and this is a make or miss league. There would be a lot of people lining up for Seth Curry because of his ability to shoot the basketball. So Portland doesn't offer him a lot of money. Man, he's going to have a lot of suitors out there. Lakers would be a perfect fit if they don't get Redick. And Seth Curry's not going to command a lot of money. We're talking about somewhere between $5 and $10 million for Seth Curry. And so that's a big deal. Philly, I mean,
I hear what you're saying
Lakers,
about LA. I
yeah,
hear what you're saying
Clippers,
about LA. But think
yeah,
about this. Golden State is down Klay Thompson until at least April or
yeah. There you go.
March or April. How awesome would it be for the Curry brothers to play
Yes,
on the same team? The add to the Splash Brother montage that they have going there with the pool with the Splash Brother or the Splash Brother or whatever he wants to
right,
call himself out.
right.
That would be a perfect
That
addition to that team
uh,
with Klay Thompson being down, and then when Klay Thompson comes comes back in March, he can ease himself into it, not
right,
have to be you need to be Klay Thompson right now and score 30
right.
points. You know,
That
like
is yeah, that's perfect what you said. I love that. I love that too. Seth Curry playing with his brother. The two guard situation. They'd be a small backcourt like Portland,
right.
but that's fine. They're good. Seth Curry's a good basketball player. Um, Yeah, that would be a perfect situation. So yeah, absolutely. If I was Stephen Curry, I'd say, hey, can we use that exception on my brother? I actually be asking them.
Yeah.
I'd be asking Bob Myers. Let's get this done.
And if
That
you
would be a
sign
perfect
Seth
situation.
Curry, you need to sign a big man, aka Boogie Cousins, back to your team. You cannot
That's true.
lose Boogie Cousins if you get Seth.
Yeah, and Boogie Cousins might be going for the money this year, though. I mean, he might sign a 1 year deal. I've heard that he likes San Antonio and Pop, but um, I've also heard that he wants his money though too. So the Knicks could be offering him um,
He
a
needs
lot
to
of
be
money.
smarter. Everybody just needs to avoid New York. Do not go to the Knicks. Do not go to the Nets. Stay in LA.
No,
Go to the
yeah, no,
Lakers.
that's true.
You and
Yeah, no,
AD
I mean
were a
that's true.
dominant force.
That's true, man. But man, I'm not turning down money if I'm DeMarcus Cousins, man. I
I
got the
wouldn't.
Achilles injury.
Right?
Hell no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sign for. It's the same thing we talked about earlier. I'm not signing with LeBron James for $5 million when the Knicks are offering me, 80 million.
The
Nah,
one
I'm going
thing,
with.
the one thing about the Knicks though is they are kind of the Cleveland Browns of the past. They are career killers. They signed
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony to that
Oh yeah.
huge deal, and they had such big expectations for him, and he fell off the map. And Boogie Cousins is going to do the same thing if he goes to New York. He can sign the $140 million contract for 4 years or how much it is, and he's going to be the focal point of that offense, and he could. I don't think he can carry the team like he would pre Achilles injury.
No,
So
you're right, man. But I was just thinking about. No, you're 100% right on the Boogie Cousins thing. He's not the same player. But man, that Seth Curry to the Warriors is really intriguing. I like it because we already talked about the Warriors blew the draft.
yeah,
So yeah, you got to
pool
make
man,
up for
that's a
that a
horrible
little bit.
draft.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, here's what you could do: sign Seth Curry, trade Poole, get him out of there because he's trash anyways. Get yourself a big man.
yeah, no, I don't, listen, we don't, I don't think Poole's trash, but we agreed he's just a guy. Jordan Poole, their 28th overall pick. I don't know what the hell they were doing, but they're not going to give up on him that quick. They're going to see what he's got, and they'll find out. They're going to find out he's an average basketball player.
Well, breaking
He's
news:
decent,
Poole is
but
the rookie of the year, averaging 22 points a game with 6 assists. Right?
oh my God, no, that would never happen. That, yeah, I mean, but yeah, no, that would be funny though, right? But yeah, I mean, the Jordan Poole with the 28th pick when you had Keldon Johnson and Kevin Porter in your lap. I would have even taken Casey Akpala from Stanford. I mean, I don't know. And these guys that I'm talking about, Casey Akpala and Kevin Porter, were in the Warriors' backyard. I mean, they watched him. I don't. Yeah, not a good pick there. But but we'll see though. I mean, Jordan Poole's an average player. He does a lot of things okay. But as a first round pick, I don't want a guy that does a lot of things okay, especially when there's a guy on the board that's dominated a couple of things.
Right.
And there was people on the board like that. So yeah.
Well, that's a story for another day when we feel when the season starts to progress and we see if he's going to
Right.
be a bust or going to be a success. But guys, that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow, more free agency talk because this will be the peak of the pinnacle of free agency. Rumors are going to start swirling a lot here the next Friday and Saturday. Sunday, it all goes down. Monday's show is going to be packed full of Katie going to the New York Knicks and
Yeah,
Nets or whoever.
and Michael Jordan is making a mistake, and that's not unusual. The guy's made a lot of mistakes as the owner and GM or whatever he is at the Charlotte. He's making
Yeah.
he's about to make a big mistake. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
All right, guys. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a good day, y'all.